Welcome back. I'm Borderland, and today we're gonna do something a bit more chill. It's gonna be a pretty relaxed video. We're gonna do a physical media collection. I plan to do those kind of once a year. Gonna get a feel for where we at with the collection. I feel like physical media is in a really interesting spot right now, and I don't think that streaming is going anywhere, right? It's way too convenient. I feel like recently we've seen more and more headlines of those big streaming giants removing content away, and you kind of losing access to some of those films that you want to be able to watch anytime you want. It's kind of bringing physical media back into the conversation. And maybe we are going into something similar to what vinyl went through in the last 15 years. This need or want to have a physical collection and to also own the highest quality possible, something you really liked, I think is kind of where physical media is going to probably settle. Other thing that we're seeing right now in the digital world is that a lot of film are getting kind of changed, like retroactively changed, even director cutting or removing scenes or things from old movies. I have no problem with that personally. I think that a director has the right to do what they want with their movies. It's their art, but also having a way to preserve the original version, I think is important. And for me as well, I think being able to say like, I own my preferred version of a movie and nobody can take that away from me is something that I do appreciate. Some of the rule that I have around physical media personally with my collection, I'd never buy something that I haven't seen. I used to do blind buy, and I used to have this enormous Blu-ray collection. About 7-8 years ago, I had about 500 Blu-rays that I actually just gave to my brothers and my dad, and I restarted from scratch. I got into this kind of zone where I was just buying everything. I was buying movies I just barely liked. I was more chasing kind of like this idea of a collection, and it's really easy, I think, to fall into that. And I'm not saying that it's something you shouldn't do, but personally I felt like this collection is getting so big. First of all, I'm not watching most of those films. I remember like years after buying some film, they were still in the original wrapping because I never opened them. Another thing that I do to kind of help me with my collection is that I have a letterbox list that I have every movie I own, the edition that I own. If I'm in store somewhere and I don't remember if I have something or I don't remember which version I have, I can always kind of refer to that. And I also have a secondary list, my hunt list. Those are the movies that I want to get in the best format possible. And I think that helps me kind of like make sure that I don't buy anything. If it's not on my list, most likely it's because I really don't need it. And sometimes I'll put something on my list and I'm going to wait a couple weeks, and looking back, I'm like, you know what? I don't really need that. All right, so I think we can just get into the film. They are basically put in my collection from A to Z. And there are some movies that I have ordered that are not here yet. I have the Roy Anderson movie collection on Blu-ray coming from Europe. I also pre-ordered the Departed Steelbook 4K that is coming out soon. This is a really cool edition. I'm glad I waited for that. I also recently ordered the In the Mood for Love Criterion Collection 4K. I also have the A24 Stop Making Sense documentary or concert coming in 4K, and also their own collector edition of the Lighthouse coming in 4K as well. And I think the last thing is I have the Wonka Best Buy exclusive Steelbook coming in. So I think that's all the things that I have ordered but not yet got. Oh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 4K Steelbook. It came totally destroyed, just fully demolished by Amazon. The next one should be coming actually today, so we'll see if it's gonna make it in time for the video. If not, it will be in the next one. Also, just so you know, I'm gonna put the score, like my rating of each film at the bottom, just so you can keep track. All right, so Baby Driver, the last Edgar Wright film that is actually good. I really didn't like Last Night in Soho. This is just a standard edition, nothing special. They even have that little door, which I really don't like. This extra lock thing. I would say Odd Fuzz and this one are my two favorite Edgar Wright. Shaun of the Dead is great. World's End is great. Scott Pilgrim I used to love, and I feel like I rewatched it recently and it's good, but it gets a bit repetitive. And yeah, I mean, it's a great action film and probably one of the best use of music I ever seen in a film. It's just brilliant. The Banshees of Inisherin on Bluray. I don't know why this is not on 4K yet. That was my favorite film of 2022. It's also like one of those super thin Blu-ray. and it looked really cheap. I really wanted it because I love this film. I want to get this in like a nice collector edition. I feel like I looked around. I looked if there was, you know, like an international version that might have been a bit better. But yeah, this is just like super plain, super boring. I'm happy that I have it because I think it was like $10, and this is my favorite film of 2022. So I already rewatched it at least twice. Yeah, definitely waiting to have a better edition come out because this kind of sucks. Next one is one of my favorites of 2022, the Batman. So I have 2 editions of the Batman. So I have this first copy. This is just basically the basic 4K. This is the one I use to actually watch. It looks so good. I don't mind this basic edition at all. Like, it looks quite nice with, you know, Robert Pattinson on it. But I did find this Steelbook from France. It's still in the packaging, and it's also in a protective case. The other one that looks very similar to this, it's a bit more kind of zoom in. This one, you kind of get more of a zoom out and you see more of them. Yeah, man, like this Steelbook is awesome. One of my favorite one that I own. And this is exactly the type of edition that I don't mind going and paying extra to get because I don't buy too many film. So I can kind of like allow myself to splurge on some of them a bit more. Batman Begin, you know, the Christopher Nolan, and The Dark Knight. Again, like I feel like The Dark Knight, there's no great 4K collector edition. This one has a slipcover. It looks a bit nicer. This one doesn't. You know, 2 great film. I don't have the third one because I don't like the third one. And that's another thing with collecting. It's that it feels sometimes like you have to get, you know, you have to complete the collection. You have to complete the series, right? You know, when I started to collect again, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't love The Dark Knight Rises. If I want to watch The Dark Knight Rises, I'll just rent it for $5. That's one thing that I think is also, you know, when we talk about being able to buy a $100 Steelbook from France of the Batman, I don't feel bad about it because I'm technically, you know, saving money by making good choices other places. So the next one we have is Batman Mask of the Phantasm. I actually found the story really good. Like the screenplay is great. The little twists and turns of the film like was really surprising. The Joker in there was great. So I'm really happy because this also looked amazing on streaming. So I can't even wait to check this out on 4K. Let's go into the next one. The Big Lebowski. This is one that I've owned before on Blu-ray. You know, this is the type of one that is always like $5 or $10. Even on 4K, it's really cheap to get the Big Lebowski. And I'm so happy that it's this cover. I would have not got it in if it was the other cover that looks terrible. And I feel like often the Big Lebowski, when they do Steelbook, it's like this kind of pop art look, which I really don't like. I'm happy with this. If there was a collector edition or something maybe a bit more fun in terms of like the cover, I would probably get it. I don't mind upgrading again to just a better edition. I'm happy to have this. This is great. And the next one is a Blu-ray of Doubt. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Roger Deakins doing the cinematography on this. This is based on a play. You have 4 amazing performances in there. You have Meryl Streep, you have Philip Seymour Hoffman, Amy Adams, and also Viola Davis. You know, this is, I think, my most watched last year. I think I watched this 3 or 4 times last year. To be honest, like anything Roger Deakins has worked on should be on 4K. Like, I don't know what we're waiting for here. This is definitely a smaller movie. Like, it was up for some Oscars. Criterion Collection, I would love them to do this. Great, great film. So happy to have it because I still watch it all the time, but definitely need a 4K of Doubt. All right, next one. So this is another one that I have a 2 edition of. Dune. This is the 4K kind of standard edition. One of my favorite film of that year. Denis Villeneuve, one of my favorite working director for sure. Great film to own on 4K. This looks amazing. So this is kind of my, you know, copy that I'm going to use to like watch the film. Great, great film. And let's just go into the next one because that's one of my favorite in my collection. So this is the Dune UK Steelbook. And the reason why I love this edition is that it's very different. I feel like all the Dune Steelbook tend to be like super kind of orange and sandy, which, you know, obviously make a lot of sense. But I love this kind of like nighttime blue edition. It might be a bit hard to see right now. With absolutely love also the back cover with, you know, the ship. This is my favorite because it is very different. All right, let's go into the next one. This is one of the newer one that I just bought. Fargo from Shout Select in 4K. Great film. Pretty neato little edition. There's an edition here that have like a snow globe. And I think the packaging is a bit different as well. Maybe the box is a bit bigger. And I tend to not want to go for those because the snow globe is really cool, but like I don't know where I would put that. And also I tend to try to not get like huge box set that are like very big. I do have some here for like movie that I absolutely love. It's cool, and if you have room for that, that's really nice. Next one is another Blu-ray another Blu-ray that I wish was on 4K is The Favorite, the Yorgos Lanthimos film. This is my favorite of his. Portings is probably second or third. I think I would say favorite, Killing of Sacred Deer, Portings, and then The Lobster. It's tough. To me, this is best, and definitely my favorite. Once they have a really good edition, I'm just gonna get that. I'm gonna upgrade if they ever come out with a 4K. Awesome. Next one is Gladiator on 4K. This is my fiance's favorite film, or one of her favorite film. Yeah, it's a great film. We watched it recently. It looks great on 4K. The Green Knight. This is my favorite film of 2021. Love The Green Knight. Totally different in terms of like the fantastical kind of like quest film. It's a bit different than what you would expect it to be. Visually, it's amazing. So I'm glad that I was able to get the 4K. There's so many good editions out there. There's a Steelbook with the Green Knight on it that I absolutely love, but it's been hard to find. And there's also obviously the A24 collector edition. And I'm kind of debating, should I go and get the A24? Should I wait and find the Steelbook? So for now, I have the 4K kind of like basic edition. If I can find the Steelbook, I'd rather have the Steelbook, and I still have this copy anyway, so I'm not in a hurry. Next one is, I feel like something that everyone owned at this point. This is the complete Harry Potter collection. I think it was on Boxing Day that this came to like something like $70 or $80 for the entire collection. I do prefer getting like the individual film one by one just for the look of it. This is a franchise that doesn't have any misses to me. It's so good and it looks great. I'm not like the biggest fan of Harry Potter. Like for me, Lord of the Ring is kind of like the big franchise that I prefer. This is good. Like I don't need a Steelbook for every one of them. I don't need kind of a super huge collector edition. Like I just want the film in like the best version possible, available anytime I want. I think this is great. Like a big box set with all 8 film. Okay, so this is one of the film that I should have listened to myself a bit more. So I got the Holdovers on Blu-ray. So this is my favorite film of 2023. Love the Holdovers. This came out on kind of early Jan that the Blu-ray was now available, and I waited like 2 or 3 weeks to see if they would like announce a 4K. I didn't hear anything, so I was like, well, maybe they won't actually release this on 4K. So I pre-ordered the Blu-ray, and the day after I got it, I think the European market is getting a 4K now. So it just popped up on Amazon recently that the 4K will be available, I think. Obviously, I'm going to update this to 4K. I don't know if they would go down the collector edition route or if they would do something like even crazier than just 4K. I'm going to hold on to this until the 4K is either announced or available. If ever a better edition than the standard 4K comes out, because this is my favorite film of 2023, I'm going to be upgrading. So sucks that I had to buy this for no reason, but we'll see what happened. Another favorite of my fiance, Home Alone in 4K. It's her favorite Christmas movie. Mine is Jingle All the Way. This looks amazing on 4K, and it was kind of like something like $12, $13. So why not? Like I said, we watch this one every single year. So I'm very happy to just buy this and own it. All right, the next one is, this is the 4K Best Buy exclusive Steelbook of La La Land. One of my favorite film of probably like the decade. If you try to watch this and you watch kind of the first scene on the highway and you're like, oh no, I can't do this, I would say like keep going, because this first scene, even me, I don't love it to this day. It's very cliche in a way, but the actual film, like once you pass that first scene, it's so freaking good, man. And I love this edition. So you have basically the two of them, and this is one of those slipcover that doesn't have the same thing on the Steelbook. So when you take the slipcover out, you have this amazing art, and in the back it continues. What a beautiful Steelbook. And this is one of my favorite one. So I had to actually buy a seal version on eBay for this one. I paid something like $100. This is one of those that I could have got the standard edition for like $25, $30 maybe of the 4K, but I waited and I found this copy sealed. I was like, if I'm gonna own this movie, I'll wait and I'll find this specific edition that I absolutely love. Okay, now let's get into The Lighthouse. So The Lighthouse is my favorite movie of all time. So I own 3 different copies. So like I said, I ordered the A24 Lighthouse Collector Edition. This hasn't even shipped yet, so I'm waiting for that. I do also own the Arrow Video Edition of The Lighthouse that comes with a booklet. So this is a 4K edition with this really cool art, super grainy art. There's a booklet, a poster, and this is the one I'm currently using when I want to watch it. Another thing that I found online, because I love The Lighthouse so much, is this Japanese collector edition box set. So this comes in a kind of wooden kind of looking box. You have the A24 logo here, Universal on the side, nothing on the other side. And you have a design here in the back. The only thing is that it's a Blu-ray. I didn't really order it for the disc because I already have one copy, a second one on the way. So you have the Blu-ray, all in Japanese. It looks great. I actually love this cover more than the Arrow Video one. I love also the background that they use here. It's really neat, all in black and white with the Japanese lighthouse on the spine. One other thing that it came with is this huge postcard. So Junji Ito designed this huge postcard, and the artist also did a manga version of one of the scenes from The Lighthouse. So you have this booklet that is a manga of one of the scenes of them talking together. And the other thing it came with was this long sleeve t-shirt with the seagull on it. I think it looks so cool. I love the manga, and you know, being my favorite movie of all time, I think this is the type of thing that I'm like, you know what, I want this really cool edition. The one edition that I still haven't got, but it's on my mind every day, it's the Chinese M Life edition, limited to like 200 copy. I think it's going for like 300 Canadian, which is like 220 US. It looks awesome. It has like Willem Dafoe built into the rock of the island, and then the lighthouse is kind of his thing. That's the one that I really want. Next thing is similar to the Harry Potter collection. I have the Lord of the Ring trilogy. So I know there's this insane steelbook. Every film is an individual steelbook, and also a steel box set, and they did it for Lord of the Ring and also the Hobbit trilogy. The Hobbit trilogy, I think you can still find at retail price on Amazon, but the Lord of the Ring one is sold out, and they show up on eBay from time to time, and they go for like $400, $500. I really want to get that, but for now I'm gonna have to settle down for this one. So this is great to own. Love this. Awesome. Next one is it the first Criterion collection that I'm showing off? I think so. Criterion collection, Memories of Murder by Bong Joon-ho. Recently I've been kind of trying to finish watching all the Bong Joon-ho film that I haven't seen. I just knew that if I loved this film, the first thing I would do is order the Criterion collection, because the cover, man, is so freaking gorgeous. The drawn art of the grass, the ends coming out. This is actually just the Blu-ray. I don't know if maybe the source is good enough for a actual 4K. Obviously, Criterion collection, man, they know what they're doing, and this is one of the most gorgeous one. Love, 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 love this. All right, let's keep going. So the next one is another one of my favorite movies of all time, Moneyball with Brad Pitt. Probably to me the best sport film ever made. Don't know what else I would put above this. I think to me this is pretty much untouchable in terms of sport film. There's something about the way they approach filming the baseball too. What I love is that they went one step further and made like some of the background or like the stadium like just fully black. This was like at the beginning of 4K, like the master in 4K Blu-ray. It's one of those super thin one with like the weird gate lock thing, which I don't like at all. I need a great collector edition or a steelbook or something in 4K of this. I assume it's gonna happen soon enough, because like this was a big film. It doesn't matter how many times I watch it. That montage where they go on a winning streak, it makes me emotional. There's something about baseball that is, you know, like they say in the film, like romantic. Please release this on 4K and in a better edition. This crappy little thin Blu-ray with a freaking lock. What's the point? You would think that this means that they're spending more money on plastic. All right, next film, The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is another of my fiance's favorite. This looks great on 4K. We just watched it this year. Like the first 30 minutes is like masterful, like 10 out of 10. After that, like the last hour, it feels like it's not as good. Like it gets kind of mid. The next film is a 2021 release, Official Competition. And I feel like a lot of people Haven't seen that maybe. It was one of my favorite films of 2021, in my top 5 for sure. I could only find this. This is a European edition, and it's a Blu-ray. I actually really love this kind of pinkish background with the clear case. It's really nice. And the reason why I wanted to get this, even though it was only on Blu-ray, is that the streaming version is really bad. I watched this on streaming. I think I paid for it like on Apple TV, and it felt a little bit like blurry, like not low quality, but just blurry. This is a great film. Penelope Cruz, Antonio Banderas, Oscar Martinez. And the story is that Cruz is basically a director, but like one of those artsy kind of like upcoming director. And there's a rich man that is trying to find a legacy to leave behind. He's a great businessman. He's very rich, but he wants to be remembered for something important. He's like, get me the best actor, get me the best director, get me the best screenplay. It's not making artistic choices. He's just making things based on money. He's thinking, if I get the best director, the best actors, the best screenplay, it's going to make the best film. And this is actually the story of just them trying to make the film. It's really good. Happy to have this on Blu-ray because, again, the streaming version is so bad. The next two goes together. I have the Criterion version 4K of The Others with Nicole Kidman, one of my favorite film of all time. Amazing screenplay, great performance, and I love Nicole Kidman in this. I love the film. This Criterion 4K looks amazing, and I actually picked up the Region B European version as well. The only thing I don't like about the Criterion is the cover. It's a bit basic. It's just Nicole Kidman. It looks good. To be honest, like the print look a bit low quality to me. Like the Criterion Collection label looks very high definition, but the actual kind of like Nicole Kidman's name just looks a bit low quality. It looks like the file they used for the print was just too low pixels. The Region B, and I think I'm the only one. I remember asking some people which one they prefer, and everyone except me prefer the Criterion Collection one. But to me, the Region B cover is so much nicer. The art is very almost Van Gogh kind of like look. I just love this cover so much more. I didn't check out if the 4K version is better or worse. Maybe just a different like kind of color grading. Let me know in the comment, to be honest. I would be surprised if someone also agree with me that the Region B has a nicer cover. To me, the Region B is so much cooler, more artistic to me. It's more unique. It has more personality. It feels like the Criterion is a bit washed out. I don't know. I just don't love it as much. It feels a bit too restrained for what the movie is. If anyone prefer the Region B like me, I'd be very surprised. I feel like I'm the only one. All right, let's keep going. We are almost done. Okay, so the next one is Oppenheimer, still in the packaging. Third favorite movie of 2023. Great film. I didn't need the Steelbook. The Steelbook looked great. This is one of those films that I love. It's great, but don't need to spend that extra, $10, $15. I just want to be able to watch it whenever I want. This is my favorite Guillermo del Toro film, Pan's Labyrinth. Amazing, beautiful cover. This is a Blu-ray, not a 4K. I wish there was a 4K edition with the same cover. To me, Del Toro's best. I didn't love The Shape of Water like everybody did. It's good. It's a bit too cartoony for me. I feel like his earlier films were a bit more grounded. I know there's a 4K out there, and I think it was made by either Universal or whoever owns the right of the film. But I've heard that the 4K that was made by the studio is actually worse than the Blu-ray that was made by Criterion, so just went with the Blu-ray. The next one is another Criterion collection. It's the Jackie Chan Police Story 1 and 2. This is, again, just a Blu-ray. Man, this cover is so gorgeous. Just looks beautiful. Look at that art for each film. When I was like 16, I was so obsessed with Jackie Chan. I would go to like those super small video rental place where you can find VHS of some of his first film. I remember there was a collection of 4 VHS that was his first 4 film. The first one was actually like he was barely in it. I don't have a lot of his film because I'm waiting for them to be kind of upgraded to 4K. It's starting to happen. You see more and more 4K film of Jackie Chan. So we have Hitchcock, Rear Window. It's probably my favorite or second favorite Hitchcock. I've been kind of going back and rewatching a lot, and those 4Ks are freaking amazing. I don't like the box set because the box set, even though it becomes a bit cheaper per film, there's a bunch of those film in those box set that I really don't need. I wish they did Dial M for Murder on 4K. On Amazon, there's a 3D version that I'm probably gonna check out because I'm curious. Awesome. The next one is, this was for a long time my favorite Tarantino film, Reservoir Dog, and this is the amazing version where the slipcover removed the ear. This is such a cool edition. It's a steelbook. It looks amazing. This is a German edition, so the background is all in German, but it has the English track. To me, one of the best Tarantino. I know a lot of people don't love it as much. I actually prefer this over Pulp Fiction. This is one of those that I was like, right away when I saw this, I was like, I'm getting this. Love, love, love this version. Next one is Rocketman, one of my favorite film of, I think it's 2019. Egerton did such a good job, and it's like type of film, like this is a guilty pleasure that I can just throw on. What I like about musicals is that if you've seen them once or twice already, now you can just put them on a little bit more in the background. It's like listening to music. I don't know if people love this film. I think most people find it okay because I love music and I love Elton John so much. This is great. I love this. I watched this so many times. I think I went to the theater like 2 or 3 times to watch this. I loved it so much. Awesome. Next Hitchcock film, Rope. And this is probably one of those that I would say it's either my favorite or my second favorite with Rear Window. I think people say it's a bit gimmicky. Love James Stewart as well. So, you know, I had to get this one, and the transfer looks so freaking great. Another one that I had to get. Another film that I recently watched, kind of hard to find. It's the Russian Ark. So some of you might know that I'm doing the Letterboxd World Map Challenge. So I'm trying to watch a movie from every single country in 1 year. This is the movie I watched to get Russia off the map early on in January. It's just so interesting. I love the intimate kind of voyeurism kind of aspect to the film. This almost looked like a fake Blu-ray. It's very poor quality. Like the cover looks terrible. It says Kino Lorber on it. Even the Blu-ray sign, like logo, look a bit cheap. So this is a film that was shot in one shot, but it's an actual true one shot. It took them 3 attempts to get it done. If you want to read into it, it's one of the biggest kind of achievement. I think for the achievement, it's cool to watch, but I personally think the story and the main characters are super interesting, and I was just so like interested, and I wanted to watch more and more. So I picked up the Blu-ray. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know if it's gonna be looking a bit meh. This was shot digital. If they were to upgrade this to 4K, I assume it would be an upscale, so it wouldn't be really worth it to get it. The Shining. This is one of my fiance's favorite. Great film. Looks amazing on 4K. This is one of the great ones to get. I just don't like this cover. It just feels very cheap. If I find a cooler cover and it's cheap enough, I might upgrade. So next one is the only film that break a rule in my kind of collection rule. I actually haven't seen this film. This was a GIF. It's The Sound of Metal, the Criterion 4K. I have very high expectation of the film, and if it's not good, I might just resell it or give it to someone that wants it. I haven't seen this, so I can't really talk about it too much. All right, next one is one of my favorites from 2021, Spencer. Again, I don't believe there's a 4K out there. I feel like every couple months I check. This is the Blu-ray, and this is another film that my fiance absolutely love. I mean, I didn't love El Conde, and I still haven't seen Jackie, so I want to check this out. But this is one of my favorite 2021. I'm just happy to get the Blu-ray so I can watch anytime I want. Okay, the next one is the Star Trek trilogy. I'm not into Star Wars, and I'm not even into Star Trek that much. But when the first movie came out in 2008 or 2009, I believe, this was like peak, just buying everything. And I was going to the movie every week. I was renting movie every week. I was watching movie every day. I was like at my peak kind of like, you know, cinema nerd. And there was something about like those film, like the Star Trek film, even the second one, it's just guilty pleasure, nostalgia. It's one of those things that I remember going to the theater and watching the first one. A little bit like Pacific Rim and those kind of film where I know they're not actually that great, but it's just guilty pleasure. Popcorn movie. I'm very okay with that. So we only have 2 left. Whiplash in 4K. And this is a film that was shot in 1080p, so I believe this is just in upscale. The 4K was actually cheaper than the Blu-ray, so at this point I was like, I'll just get the 4K for now. I want to get like a very good edition. I don't love the Steelbook with the bloody kind of like drumstick. I just feel like it looks a bit too simple for me. Love this film. I feel like everyone loved Whiplash. And this is definitely, like, at some point was in my top 5. I would say it's probably still in my top 10. It's just one of those films that I watched at the right time, you know, in theater. I think it was 2014 that it came out. And is that when Birdman came out as well? I remember watching Birdman and Whiplash by myself in theater. And I went in not knowing anything. But I would just go to the theater, pick a movie based on a poster, and just go in by myself. And this is one of those films that I watched like that. This and Birdman are the two that I need to have in my collection. And I want like a big collector kind of edition. Birdman is still only available in Blu-ray for some reason, but great film. And the last one is David Fincher Zodiac French Steelbook in Blu-ray. It has the side of the car on it, but it was like something like $40 and it's still sealed and everything. Just love this film. I feel like though, the more I watch it, the less I like all the music, but overall, I think it's just a great film. It's not my favorite Fincher either. Gone Girl to me is just a better version of Zodiac, like similar vibe, and I feel like the aesthetic and the visual and the texture and the color of the film are very similar, but to me Gone Girl is a more interesting overall film. But I'm very happy to find this. I don't think it's hard to find. There was at least 2 or 3 copies available on eBay from the same seller. Fincher's film, like especially now he's working with Netflix, it's gonna be hard to find physical copy of some of his work. Some of his things like Panic Room is not even on Blu-ray. It's a little bit like Paul Thomas Anderson. Like Fincher and Thomas Anderson are two that like it's hard to find their film on good quality physical media. And this is it. This is my physical media collection. I'm gonna do this I think every year just to kind of keep up to date. We'll probably grow this by about 40. So my camera actually stopped working right there. So thank you for watching. We actually went through all my film. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Check me out on Letterboxd. You can also check out our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, anywhere you watch your podcast, and also on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll see each other very soon. Have a good one.